Yes, sir. We are live on YouTube as well as on Zoom. Good afternoon, participants. Welcome to this course, Research Methodology for Tourism and Hospitality Management. Our instructor, Dr. Shyju sir, is here along with the TA, Ishita. So those who have very less bandwidth can watch the event on YouTube and post your queries on YouTube chat box. And others can join Zoom directly and interact with sir and the TA. Over to you, sir.
So thank you so much, Murali, for helping us to organize this live stream session.
You're welcome, sir.
Glad to see that the research methodology course for hospitality and tourism management students, now it is completing almost 7 weeks. And we have seen good number of participation from students level. The main purpose of launching this program was in India, there are so many students pursuing mainly the discipline tourism and hospitality management. There are also researchers who are working with the different universities. At the end, when we look into the research methods, how to conduct the research, there are a lot of questions and confusions in the minds of students. So, considering all this, I thought we should launch this program, and we have structured this for 8 weeks as uh, proposed by the Swayam platform team from Banaras Hindu University. And from the very beginning till end, we started with the basic introduction of tourism research. We connected it with different disciplinary areas. We briefly discussed about the qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches. Then we also detailedly discussed the literature review part. We have covered the techniques used in data collection, that's for both qualitative and quantitative. We also taken, we have also seen the process of analysis, data analysis that is used in qualitative and quantitative. We have given attention to the students, novice students or newcomers to understand the concept of research by taking examples from tourism and hospitality area. So while concluding the eighth episode of this particular lecture, I hope all the students would get a better understanding of tourism and hospitality research methods. We have participants and we have also got some queries online. I would like to ask Mukta, your experience of learning this particular course. Would you please introduce where are you from and your course details, your background, academic background?
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I'm from Kanpur and recently I've completed graduation in Ayurved.
Okay.
Regarding this course, I want to learn this course, so I'm searching and I got to know about this Swayam prod. So, sir, I'm learning this and I'm finding it interesting also. So, yes, sir, it's like that.
Uh, Thank you, Mukta. You are from Kanpur. You did a course in Ayurveda, so that shows the interest of students from other streams also to learn about the research methods applied in tourism and hospitality. So, to give you a brief, very basic information about the nature of tourism or hospitality sector, we find tourists coming to India, and we also find tourists going abroad from India. Then we have seen Kumbh Mela, the Mahakumbh, which attracted millions of people. So the movement of these people within a country or moving out of the country or people coming from other country to India, we call the phenomena tourism. In this phenomena, there are several allied sectors involved that include transportation, hospitality, and the other services, which we call allied services. When we look from the prism of research, like you did your Ayurveda in from a university. There are doctors who work with the tourism sector. You must have heard about wellness centers, a traditional Indian traditional system of medicine, which include Ayurveda, yoga, and other therapies as per Ayush. They work well with the tourism sector because wellness tourism is one of the area developing fast in India. Patanjali Yogapeeth, Haridwar, or several places in southern part of India, including Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and all, they prioritize wellness tourism. So, if you look from the prism of research, how tourists look into wellness programs, for example, is it for just a happiness aspect or for a particular treatment part? So, understanding the motivation of visitors or people from India, that can be one of the area of interest for a researcher. Or we can find out other dimensions of wellness that includes meditation or other forms of healing, different forms of healing, which helps people to come out of maybe a different type of diseases. So when you go into the nitty-gritty, the minute details of academic research in tourism, we can find that wellness sector, which also gains a lot of money in form of foreign currency as well as the spendings from the tourists. Different areas we can identify too. So in a way that Miss Mukta, she joined from a different background, maybe trying to understand the basic principles of research in tourism and how to proceed it with. So in this line, we have got some questions also. So let me check the chat box. We have seen around 4 questions presented in the chat box. First of it, what are some common mistakes beginners make while defining their research problem? So when we look into research, we need an area to work on. So a researcher, for example, a JRF qualified or NET qualified student enrolls in a university for a research. In the beginning, teachers will ask them to prepare a proposal, the research plan proposal, which states the research problem. So now comes the question of how you choose this research problem and what aspects that you have to keep it in mind. Some common mistakes that the scholar or the researcher may make. Say, for example, I belong to a region which is far from my home place. For example, my home place is in Kerala and I am working in extreme northern part of India. So when I make a research plan proposal, I have to be very clear with the area of work, the particular area of work which I am going to take up, where data is available or the area of research is relevant, or will I be able to complete the work? So practical issues come up. So these questions we sometimes ignore. At first, students need admission, so they attend the interview. But after enrolling for research, searching for a research problem, many students find dilemma. So some dilemma that include contemporary research issues, which are the areas that we have to address. Or second is a different area altogether. In tourism and hospitality management, mainly we teach tourism related subjects, hospitality related, and management background, or some topics related to history and geography. So the content of information technology is less in this. So if a student want to pursue big data analysis, and the student is not aware of designing the algorithm or going ahead with the research in depth, it will create problem. So identifying a topic which you have interest. Number two, where you can work upon. Work upon here means you need data also to available. So collection of data, the respondents, or going ahead with the research for a period of minimum 3 years. In a standard way, 3 to 5 years that we keep as a research period. So at the end of the research, you should be able to complete the work satisfactorily. So I hope I am answering the question raised by the candidate. Common mistakes include, taking a broad topic. A too broad topic can put you in problem. So we can adopt two way of thinking. One is a generalized idea, which is a macro, or a narrow point of view, that is micro level, microscopic approach. So if you go into the details of a particular aspect, you will get the detailed information. But when we talk about an area which is widespread all over India or all over the world, it will not be easy to work upon. So that is one of the area selection. And second is about the data which we can collect from. You have to spend money, you have to spend your energy, and also it needs a lot of patience. So good data is required for the study. You have to, if we ignore the respondents, or if we ignore the nature of data that we require, this can also create a problem when you design a research problem. And the second question is related to real world examples where the choice of research philosophy significantly influenced the findings. So in the recent past, we have faced a challenge, COVID-19. This disease that the entire world was impacted. So the real world example, let us take the COVID-19 pandemic. And now when we look from the prism of research philosophy that is applied in tourism and hospitality, I quote the research of Dr. Rohan Bhalla and co-researchers. They worked upon the influence of nature on human beings, like how the COVID restricted movements of people, and that time going out of the home, it felt like a dream, and how the natural or mountainous regions. So it is an internal healing when you go into mountainous regions, the Himalayas, in which that is the study that he quoted, that appeared like, it is equally like a healing process. So travel is a healing process people felt during the time of COVID-19. Now, talking about the philosophy, when we consider the philosophical underpinning, that is constructivism. In constructivism, we have to go into the details of the problem, and we have to understand how the respondents, they felt the difficulty while they trapped in their house during the COVID, and how moving out of the home or going to mountainous regions helped them to recover from the depression or boredom, or how they felt the mountains have a power of healing. So the researcher here, Rohan Bhalla and his team, they conducted in-depth interviews, and they collected the scientific background of claiming that nature has a healing power. Correlated with their findings, and they could satisfactorily come out with the research, and which was published in a very reputed journal, and the research findings were also taken up by WHO, if I am right, World Health Organization, during the time of the pandemic. So when we have this as an example of constructivism, which I am talking about, same way we can take up the cases of positivism too, where we have to collect the real data, and how this real data is significantly, project the outcome, a particular outcome. Say, for example, we are going to have several new airports. One of the news is Hindon Base Airport is going to be operational soon in Uttar Pradesh, and there will be a lot of domestic flights. So we already have an airport in Palam, New Delhi International Airport. So when we have two airport terminals in a city, metropolitan city, in the long run, how the profitability of operation of these airports, how it works. So here we need the number of passengers who are using the terminal right now, and we have to forecast the number of passengers moving towards Hindon Airport. So then we will come to an idea about the investment which is made on Delhi Airport and the new airports which are going to be operational soon. How the competition or the change of passenger movement from old airport to new airport affect the profitability of Delhi International Airport. So here we need data to work up, and the results will significantly say, whether the future of multiple airports in one city, whether it will be operationally profitable or not. So when we are looking into the third question here, what factors should we consider when choosing between qualitative, quantitative, and mixed research designs? We have already discussed in detail about these three different type of approaches that we use in research. So when we talk about the philosophy, the philosophical underpinnings, let us be very clear. Positivism, we go ahead with quantitative techniques. Constructivism, we use qualitative, and in pragmatism, we use this mixed methods approach. So when we have enough quantitative data and we can have a theory in its background, then our hypothesis which we propose can be tested through this data. We can go ahead with the quantitative studies. So in Master of Tourism and Travel Management, or MBA Tourism and Hospitality, there are several papers taught. So one example, if you take transport management. So here we can take an example of passenger movements. So when we talk about the passenger movements, that we say a flight is profitable or not. An airline company which operate flights in domestic routes, it depends upon the occupancy, number of passengers which they carry. So if it is a hotel, again, occupancy rate matters a lot. So if we have numbers, numeric data in our hand, which would be easy to work out with the quantitative techniques. But when we need to investigate a problem in detail, we have to go to the case specific, or the researcher observe a particular phenomena for a longer period of time and understand the situation in detail trying to come out with specific observations and conclusions where numbers doesn't matter, interpretation matters. In that context, we use especially this qualitative techniques. When we speak about the cultural features or socio-cultural aspects, we can relate it with. So clubbing this both two, that is quantitative and qualitative, and identifying the results through triangulation, converging the results and trying to match the outcomes of qualitative and quantitative, we use mixed method research. So the researchers should justify why we have to use mixed method research. This a question which is addressing ethical issues that researchers unknowingly overlook while designing a study. So the UGC has introduced a course on research ethics, and it would be easy if you go through the book once to understand the common practices and ethical issues that when we take up a research project or a research work, and how researchers fall into the trap, or sometimes we overlook the issues of ethical considerations. Many journals, they demand for a certificate from ethics committee when we submit an article. So what they demand is two things. If we use human beings as our respondents, we need to get informed consent. That means the data collection, during the data collection process, the researcher should communicate to the respondent about the purpose of the research and give assurance that the data collected will not be useful for any commercial or other personal interest other than academics. Sometimes revealing names of the respondents or a particular community based upon caste or creed, these all matters, these are sensitive issues. So ignoring the sensitivity of a topic which can create problems. And the second aspect, if you take with animals, like when we do research, one area of tourism research is pet animals, handling of pet animals or researches related to pet animals. So unlike science, we don't do any laboratory research on animals, but the experiments that researchers do in a controlled environment, that also matters. So ethical approval, the approval of ethics committee of the university or the research institution is important. Then the third part, which we now discuss a lot, is AI, the use of AI in our research. Say the publication houses as well as universities start demanding the use of AI in research, and which the area and the way the researcher used AI. So many occasions we forget to disclose that AI has been used, and at times we do not know in the future the advancement of technology can bring out how the researcher has used AI in a particular article. Say for example, plagiarism check. Similarity check people used to do earlier through the softwares. Now it is AI enabled. So in the future, we can expect that if somebody is using AI for a particular work, and if it is not disclosed, then it can result into adverse consequences. So it is better that when we enter into when we are discussing upon a topic or when we are thinking of a new project, research project, what kind of ethical issues may come up and accordingly work on. There is one more question I find in chat box. Common misconceptions students have about conducting a literature review. I think as a student at a UG level, teachers may give projects, and most of the projects, the student use Google or internet to search information, and they feel that whatever information they find from internet, they either copy it or paraphrase it and use it in the project. So one misconception can be everything is not a part of literature review. We should have an idea about what literature that we search for. And second, at a postgraduate or PhD level, students are more aware of the literature search. So if we take up different resources, that every university has a library or a college has a library. And when we talk library, there would be a section where theses are kept, books are kept, and the journals and magazine sections. So like when we see the layout of a library, we can also keep it in mind that this way we can organize our folder in your laptop or computer. A thesis section, or second one is like the magazines or journals or books like that. So the conception is what you should for where. So if you read a thesis, you will come to know about the area of work done before. If you read a research literature, a publication, then you know about a short work, a comparatively a work which is recently taken up or published, that will help the researcher to form idea. And the newspaper articles or magazines, that will help generate general idea. So it is important for students to understand where these particular resources that we can use. So it starts from classifying the information, searching the source that matters. Many students use Wikipedia as their resource, or maybe Britannica Encyclopedia, or even maybe ChatGPT or AI tools. But remember one thing, the original source of the literature, identifying the original source is important, and using that one is important. So I hope I have answered the queries raised in chat box. So if Murali can help me to find out if there are more questions there.
Just a second, sir. I'll just check on the YouTube whether anybody is watching or posted anything. I'll just check and get back, sir. No, sir. Nobody has posted questions on YouTube.
Okay.
Maybe Mukta, do you have any other queries?
No, sir.
Okay. Ishita, would you like to discuss anything on the points sir discussed?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yes, good
I
evening.
think sir already has covered most of the points and has given a brief introduction about the course and have included most of the details. So there's no additional points for me to add, and yeah, that is all. Thank you.
All right, Ishita. So can you talk about the examination? Because it is on the 25th of April, what questions they will expect, whether it will be objective type or subjective type, how many questions, those things you can discuss, sir.
Thank you, Murali, for helping me out. We have 8 different weeks this course was structured. And 40 modules, I believe 40 lectures we have recorded and shared with the students. So during the examinations, the students have to attend 100 questions. These are objective in nature. So it would be I believe, a multiple choice mode, and the student have to find the right answer, mark it, then the system will generate a mark sheet, how many correct answers were there. The questions are more or less directly connected with the syllabus. And whatever we discussed in the modules, the student have to recollect it or apply their mind for some questions like a logic, or where they have to find a reasoning, a particular rationale for answering. So the time duration of the examination, I believe it would be 3 hours, if I'm not wrong. It would be clarified and communicated to the students later. So 100 marks each. Again, negative marking, I'm not sure. I think there won't be any negative marking. All questions will be multiple choice kind of. And they can very easily, I believe, if those who are watching the videos, they are regular to this class, it will be easy for them to attend it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Maybe we will wait for a minute, sir, in case if somebody is posting, then we will attend it. Otherwise, we may end the session, sir.
Sure, sure.
Right, sir. One is watching on the YouTube, but not posting any queries.
Okay, okay.
Right, sir.
May once you show it, it is available in YouTube, right? This particular interaction.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
The same link now, sir, which I shared on the email.
Okay, okay.
So students can watch the event later also. This
All right.
right, sir. So I think we can end the session, sir. Since no queries we are getting, we will end the session. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you, sir.
for joining in.
Now, one line, I want to thank all the participants and those who watch this particular course. You attend the particular course, research methodology, and the information shared will be useful for them. And thank you, Murali, for your help, and thanks to Ishida and Mukta who joined today.
Yeah, you're most welcome, sir. So we will close now, sir.
Sure, sure.
Bye, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.